And so tonight, we're looking at the 11th step, or the 11th effort. Let me read it to you, and we'll go from there. The 11th step, we sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of God's will for us and the power to carry it out. Okay. The 11th effort reads, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with the universe, praying only for greater consciousness and the energy to fulfill our purpose today. The energy to fulfill our purpose today. So, why did I use those turns of phrase? So, sought through prayer and meditation, that's the same concept being expressed in the 12th step. To improve our conscious contact, same idea. We're constantly working at improving our conscious contact with God, with the universe, with Great Spirit, with higher power. We recognize by this point in our work that there is an intelligence in the universe that has a consciousness, that is conscious and aware, that intelligence expresses itself in infinite ways. It cannot fully be grasped, and yet one can relate to it. The work of the 11th effort, the work of the 11th step, is to improve our conscious contact with this universal intelligence. It is no different than the path of yoga, which seeks ultimately to align us with the supreme being. In the yogic terminology, we might say, use the words Ishvara Pranidhana, aligning with the supreme being, that supreme state of being. This is the same, in my opinion, in all traditions. Speaking of finding truth, aligning with truth, connecting with that which is, connecting with God, connecting with Spirit, connecting with the Holy Trinity, connecting with whatever the form or the expression of the infinite is in the particular religion or spiritual path. That's what we're working to connect with. Ultimately, it's the truth of all truths, the intelligence that underlies all things. It's threaded through you and it's threaded through me. It's threaded through the cells of our body. It's threaded through the microbes in our body. It is inseparable from any aspect of itself. We, being an aspect of itself, we are inseparable from this intelligence. So if we're inseparable from this intelligence, why do we have to work so hard to be in alignment with it? Well, it just so happens that as human beings, we develop this thing called an ego. And that ego, often referred to in 12-step terminology as easing God out. Easing God out. Well, that's not a complete picture of the ego, but I appreciate the sentiment there. The ego really has to do with our earthly human identity, our personality, our family, our history, our genetics and epigenetic influences, our inputs, all the things that we've done, the people we've spoken to, the television shows we have watched, the media we've taken in. This ego forms an identity, a belief system. And that belief system, quite often, is separate from. There's a separateness in that belief system, in that ego-ness, that sense of I-ness, the identity, which we have to be human, also presents this challenge of confusion, misunderstanding. Someone referred to it as ignorance. It's referred to as ignorance on the yogic path. Not ignorance in terms of stupidity, that's harsh and not accurate. Ignorance in the sense of not being able to see clearly. Ignorance in terms of there's an ignoring of something. We're ignoring something that's here that we want to connect with, a deeper truth about what is, so that we can be in the ego, be in this identity, but not be attached to it. To recognize while we're in this identity, to be in connection with the deeper part, the deeper intelligence within us, which is inside of this ego identity. The ego identity, this attachment to story, this attachment to me and mine and I, is where the challenge is. It's where our suffering comes from. And so our work in the 12 steps up to this point, the 12 efforts, our work has been at first, those first 3 steps or efforts, the first part of this is about recognizing what is and making a commitment, a decision to pursue the truth. That's all those first 3 steps are about. Okay, it sounds like this. I've got a problem that I can't solve in the current way that I'm thinking. I'm cut off from consciousness. I'm cut off from the divine. I'm cut off from God. I'm cut off from power. I'm disempowered. I recognize that I need more power. Okay, I've decided now I will pursue this path which leads to greater power. That's 1, that's 2, and that's 3. How do I pursue that path? First, I have to look inside my own life, my own self, and I have to look at my inventory. The inventory of the things that I've gripped onto, the things I've attached to. My attachments is what we're inventorying. Okay? Where are my resentments? Where's my negativity, my judgment, my pain? How have I behaved in this life? Why have I behaved the way that I have behaved in this life? All of this is coming up. Why? In that 4th step, that critically important personal inventory, what we need to do in order to commit to that path, which is going to lead to greater power, we're being led into this journey inside to understand what has blocked us from this connection that we're talking about. What has blocked us? This ego. How has it manifested itself in our life? Where have we held on? We look at all this. We dig it up. We look at our behavior in every area of our life. All of our relationships, family, friendships, business, sex, money, food. We look at everything. What's been going on? We drudge it all up. We look at it. We bring it into consciousness, that movement from subconscious to conscious. We bring it all up. And in so doing, we now get an opportunity to move through that next part, which is to begin to release that which has blocked us from the light of the Spirit. That which has blocked us from the light of the Spirit. So we move into 5. We tell another human being what we found. We did our personal inventory. What did we find? We let somebody else know. We tell the entire universe, here's what I discovered about myself. Here's what I've learned. And then we move into 6 and 7. We become ready. We've learned what we've been holding on to that's blocked us. We become ready to release it. We become ready to let it go. We're going to let go of that which no longer serves us. And we do that in 6 and 7. In 7, we actually ask for help. Because by the time we get to 7, we're already in a prayerful place. We're willing to ask. We may not even believe in the old school notions of God that we've heard. We may not believe in God at all, but we do have a sense that there's a consciousness out here. We look around at the trees and the plants and the flowers and we see a design which is beyond our conception. We look at the rocks and the trees and we look at the colors and we look at the sky and we look at this earth and we recognize this is beyond me. This is beyond me. And then we consider the earth as a whole, and we look beyond the earth to the stars at night and the galaxies and the suns, and we look at all of the planets, and we can clearly see this is beyond me. There's some form of generating energy here. There's some form of organizing energy here. There's some form of destroying energy here. It's all happening. It's all happening right now, and we recognize this is beyond me. We decide in that critical step 7, we make that decision and we ask for help. Take these things from me. Take these things from me that block me from the truth. Take these things from me that have stood in the way between me and my presence, my power, my awareness, my consciousness. I'm working to connect with that which is. That which is. I'm only looking to connect with the truth. Not your truth, not my truth, but the truth. The truth that of what is. It just simply is. It's not true for one person and not true for another. It's just the absolute and unchanging truth. It wasn't truth yesterday and tomorrow it'll be untruth. It wasn't truth 20 years ago and 20 years from now it will be untruth. It's just truth across all of time. And we want to connect with that which is. And we want to flow. We want to flow from that place of truth. We want to live from that place. Live in connection, live in that flow state. And live in that purposeful, creative, spontaneous, beautiful way, which is available to all of us, even in the hardest times. Available to us right now. Right now. How do we get there? We're coming to it. So we get through that in 7, we ask. We ask. It's just, we may not even know what we're asking, but we ask. Take these things from me, please. Earnestly. We just ask. This is not a Christian thing, or it is a Christian thing. This is not a Jewish thing, or it is a Jewish thing. This is not a Muslim thing, or it is a Muslim thing. This is not a Sikh thing, or it is a Sikh thing. This is not a religious path. This is a religious path. This is not a spiritual path. This is a spiritual path. All of those things are true all at the same time. Do you understand? We must not get hung up on names. There's the truth, and we're headed to it. If you're a Christian, this will make you a better Christian. If you're a Jew, this will make you a better Jew. If you're a Muslim, this will make you a better Muslim. So on and so forth. We're only being told and shown that we can become more of what we already are in our essence. And that's what we're working on right now. To become more of what already is and what already is flowing through us. That's what we're working on right now. And in order to do that work and to continue to move along after we ask, please remove these things, what do we have to do? We have to do some of the removing ourselves through our own actions. How do we do it? We make a list of everybody we've harmed. And then we make our amends to all those people. That's 8 and 9. And after we make our amends, or most of our amends, we recognize an unbelievable transformation is taking place. I feel lighter. I am enlightened in the sense of I was in a denser consciousness before. Now I'm in a lighter consciousness now. I see more. I once was blind, but now I see. And from this seeing place, I can go out into the world free, liberated, conscious, awake. Then what? Okay, we've cleared away all this wreckage. And our being is becoming purified. This is a massive, massive detoxification. What happens next? Maintenance. Maintenance of the condition that we have worked to build, the condition of presence and awareness. And that's step 10. The daily work of staying clean. The daily work of staying energetically clean, clean slate all the way through. Beautiful. Do you see the beauty of this process? It's so gorgeous. And so usually when I ask people, what do you think of the 12 steps when they're in recovery? Or have you worked the 12 steps? And many of them say, no, I don't like the 12 steps at all. And I'm like, you don't? Why don't you? Tell me about it. Oh, because I spoke to some people and I didn't like their vibe. Or I heard about it and, it doesn't sound like it would be for me. Or, I had terrible ideas about God and religion thrust upon me when I was a child. And now that there's that word God in those steps, I don't want any part of it. And so I just know it's not for me. And what I say is, there's genius in there. There's genius in there. It'll help you unlock your own genius, your own presence. How can I help you access, this beauty? How can I help you access this beauty? Because it's so important that somebody be given a chance to move beyond their own prejudices, their own limitations when it comes to pursuing the truth. It doesn't have to be the 12 steps, but this is an option. And if you've struggled with addiction, this is a really, really great option for you, But it takes somebody who's going to sit down with you and help you to work with the very difficult things that may have happened to you, which built up these stories and prejudices that keep you from accessing the very thing that is going to set you free. So if I seem heated about this, excited about this, passionate about this, it's because I am. Because it works. And, you want to give it a fair shake before you make a comment about it. You want to really have worked through it and really see what it has to offer. So we're through 10. That's that beautiful maintenance where at the end of the day, we review the day. At the end of the day, we review the day. Okay? Now, I'm going to read you something that I think is one of the coolest passages. I'm going to make a big statement here. I think this is one of the coolest passages that has ever been written. Now, it concerns alcohol because it's coming from the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. But you can substitute anything for alcohol in the place of the word alcohol. But I want to read this to you now. Okay. Love and tolerance of others is our code. And we have ceased fighting anything or anyone, even alcohol. For by this time sanity will have returned. We will seldom be interested in liquor. If tempted, we recoil from it as if from a hot flame. We react sanely and normally, and we will find that this has happened automatically. We will see that our new attitude toward liquor has been given us without any thought or effort on our part. It just comes. That is the miracle of it. We are not fighting it, neither are we avoiding temptation. We feel as though we had been placed in a position of neutrality, safe and protected. We have not even sworn off. Instead, the problem has been removed. It does not exist for us. We are neither cocky nor are we afraid. That is our experience. That is how we react so long as we keep in fit spiritual condition. Wow. Who doesn't want that? We have ceased fighting anything or anyone. Who doesn't want that? I want that. I want that every day. I want to work with that every single day. And that's what it means in the context of this work to be in a fit spiritual condition. So if you replace alcohol, the word alcohol, with, say, anger, bitterness, negativity, judgment, greed, jealousy. if you replace the word alcohol with drugs, food, sex, money, we have stopped fighting anything and anyone. I want you to think about the time that we're living in right now. Is your experience of the world and of people that most people have stopped fighting anything and anyone? That's not my experience of the world, I'm afraid. So we have some work to do. And we must all look at our own behavior. Are we minding our own business? It's such an important question. Are we arguing with people to try to prove our point? Especially now in the United States with the political thing and the COVID thing and the this thing and the that thing. But remember, there was a time before this when those things weren't around, but other things were. There's always going to be something. So what we're shooting for here is the end of the war inside, so that it can be the end of the war outside. Okay? So this brings us to the 11th effort, this beautiful, beautiful effort. Okay, I'm going to read you two passages about this beautiful effort. Beautiful passages. Okay? Much has already been said about receiving strength, inspiration, and direction. I'm going to change the passage from the universe, from God. If we have carefully followed directions, we have begun to sense the flow of spirit in us. To some extent, we have become God conscious. Okay. Now you can substitute any word for that. We have become present. We have become conscious. If God conscious works for you, great. We have become in alignment. We are in flow. Okay. We have begun to develop this vital sixth sense. And we must go further. And this means more action. What's being requested of us? Okay. Step 11 suggests prayer and meditation. We shouldn't be shy on this matter of prayer, it says. It works. If we have the proper attitude and we work at it, it works. It would be easy to be vague about this matter, yet we believe we can make some definite and valuable suggestions. Okay, so here are the suggestions given in the original big book, and then I'll chime in there. When we retire at night, we constructively review our day. This is, in Recovery 2.0, this is our evening practice, right? We have an evening practice. It's based on this basic concept. Where were we resentful, selfish, dishonest, or afraid? So those are the things that we worked on in our fourth step, in our personal inventory. So here we're doing a little mini inventory every night. Do we owe an apology? Have we kept something to ourselves which should be discussed with another person at once? Were we kind and loving? What could we have done better? Were we thinking of ourselves most of the time? Or were we thinking of what we could do for others, of what we could pack into the stream of life? I love that. What we could pack into the stream of life. It's so lovely. But we must be careful not to drift into worry, remorse, or morbid reflection, for that would diminish our usefulness to others. After making our review, we ask God's forgiveness and inquire what corrective measures should be taken. Okay. So beautiful. That's an evening ritual. It's so sweet. That's the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. And that's where it's talking about step 11. It goes on to talk about morning. On awakening, let us think about the 24 hours ahead. We consider our plans for the day. We ask God to direct our thinking. I like that prayer. I love that prayer. Please direct my thinking. Please direct my thinking. Think how powerful that is as a prayer. Especially asking that it be divorced from self-pity, dishonest, or self-seeking motives. Under these conditions, we can employ our mental faculties with assurance. For after all, God gave us brains to use. Our thought life, think of that. Our thought life will be placed on a much higher plane when our thinking is cleared of wrong motives, okay? Very powerful stuff here. Very powerful. So the idea here is to move out of struggle, to move out of fighting, and to come into right alignment. And the directive is prayer. Prayer for me is speaking from my heart and soul to the consciousness through all things. It's an expression of heartfelt desire. It's an expression of heartfelt desire. It's not about what my ego needs are. It goes beyond that. Our prayer. A prayer like direct my thinking to be useful is an incredibly powerful prayer. If you use that prayer, you'll find very quickly that that's an effective prayer. It's really something. Our prayer in Recovery 2.0, when we close all of our meetings, what is it? Universe, put us in the places you want us to be. So that's taking us right out of the equation. It's not about where I want to be. It's universe, put us where you want us to be. Where the consciousness would lead us, let's go there. The next part is with the people you want us to be with. So we're asking to be around the communities and the environments and the people that support this conscious move towards awareness and consciousness, right? Doing the things you want us to do. We're engaged in actions and activities each day that are in alignment with consciousness. That's what we're praying for. That's what we're praying for when we say that prayer. And then finally, thank you is an expression of gratitude. Thank you for the joys and challenges of our lives. It's easy to be thankful for the joys, obviously. The challenges, to be truly thankful for the challenges is to truly understand that it's all for you. It's a gift. All of it. It's all a gift. And at the end of time, you'll see it clearly. But in these bodies, it's very difficult to see it. It's very, very difficult to see it. So we express that as a prayer. Thank you. I'm grateful for not just the joys, but I'm grateful for the gift of challenge in this life, because through those challenges, I get to transform and grow. It's through those challenges that something will be learned, and I'll be able to move forward on my soul's journey through this human experience. My soul's journey through this human experience. So with this 11th effort, we sought through prayer and meditation to improve conscious contact. When do we do this improving work, this step 11 work? All the time. We might be formal about it in the morning when we do our sadhana practice. We might be formal about it in the evening when we do an evening practice. I sent out an evening practice in yesterday morning's email to you guys, to all the members, a breakdown of evening practice in a way that you can do it. I sent you the link to buy some really beautiful incense, which is incense I've come to love. The incense is called Holy Smoke. And it's so awesome. The people who make it are so awesome and so just pure in their intention. And it smells so, so good, and it creates sacred space. So look for that email and check out Holy Smoke. And check out the evening practice. So those can be formal representations of this 11th step or 11th effort work. This prayer. In prayer, we're speaking to the intelligence. We're connecting with the intelligence of the universe. Success at prayer is known as prosperity. Prosperity equals success at prayer. What does it mean, prosperity? Your prayer has been answered. Your prayer has been answered. That's success. What skill would you rather have in the world than to be able to pray successfully? Imagine that. What a superpower. So true prosperity comes from success in your prayer. What prayer? Your continuous prayer. The prayer that never ends. The prayer that is an outcropping of your being. The prayer that is your expression in the world and beyond. That's your prayer. So we're working at being successful with our prayer. It's very easy to get confused around this, to misunderstand this. Because with success, you think, oh, financial success, belongings, house, car, boat, plane, land, toys, money, financial freedom. None of those things are good. None of those things are bad. Those are just things. One can be very unsuccessful in this life and have all of those things. Yes? We've seen countless examples of this. So that's not the success we're talking about. It's wonderful to have comfort, ease, to have food to eat, and a roof over your head, and a beautiful environment to be in. These are blessings and wonderful things. And if you have those blessings, or even if you don't, the question is, are you successful? Are you successful? What is success? Your ability to be centered, stable, consolidated, regardless of what's happening outside. Your ability to be kind, compassionate, and to live in gratitude. In that gratitude, even when it's difficult. It doesn't mean that you love everything that's going on. Quite the contrary. If you don't like something that's going on, then you work to improve it. You expend your energy in skillful ways to make things better. While you're doing that, you're grateful. Even though you recognize there's something that you'd like to work towards improving, you're still grateful the whole time. That's success. That sense of being connected. The sense of living up to a set of ethical and moral codes that make sense to your own heart and having the energy and strength to live according to those codes. That's success. Wow. And someone here, I just saw Sally, the incredible Sally. She wrote, financial freedom means to be free of the obsession of wanting more. Nailed it. Free of craving, free of obsession. So prayer and success at prayer, the prayer of make me rich, like that might work. You might get rich. And you might live long enough to recognize that that wasn't the prayer you actually wanted to put out there. That brought with it a whole host of challenges and problems that you were not aware of when you asked for that prayer. So, in our prayer, we can begin, I'm just speaking from my own experience, in the morning. And it's please guide me. Essentially, the spirit of it is please guide me. Direct my thinking, direct my actions, help me to be of use to another. Help me to move beyond my own limitations and confusion. Help me to move beyond my own shortcomings. Help me to see what I can't see. Help me to move beyond my own blind spots. Help me to be in the flow today. I'm going to show up. Please guide me. That's a beautiful prayer for me. It really, really works for me. I love it. And when I say it each day, it sort of puts me right on that alignment. It's so sweet. And then the prayer, that prayer is a continuing prayer, right? That's a prayer. It's ongoing. It's not once and then done. It's and my actions come out of that prayer. My words come out of that prayer. And if I say something in the middle of the day and it doesn't feel good to me that I say it, I know it's because it was not in alignment with the energy and the spirit of that prayer. And maybe I have to clean up my language, or I have to apologize to somebody, or my tone wasn't quite right and I can fix that. Whatever it is, that's a really important thing that's going to start happening for people who really start to carry a continuous prayer in their life. There are prayers for other people's health and well-being. It's so important. Prayer for people who are struggling. I want to tell you the most wonderful story. Before we get to meditation. There's a wonderful man, a teacher, named Sada Simran. He's up in Seattle. And I'm invoking him now. And sending him a prayer now, as we all can send him a prayer. He has had health issues around COVID, very, very, very severe health issues around COVID-19. And I'm envisioning his lungs be free and clean and working. He's been in the hospital for a very, very long time. And he was on the ventilator for almost a month. And mostly people don't come off of those. We started a prayer circle for him. And you know, I'm talking about somewhere between 30 and 50, 60, 70 people every other night for a long time in a row. Just keep going, keep going. Prayer, prayer, prayer. And he got off the ventilator. He started to talk now. He's made a big, big turn for the better. His energy is coming back. He's still like, we need to continue this prayer. But the doctors and nurses, they've never seen anything like it. They think it's a miracle. They consider it a miracle. And that's good enough for me. And so, one could cynically say, well, I've prayed for many things, or I've prayed for people, and it didn't work out for them. And there's also an element of this that is beyond our control. I prayed for my mother when she was very sick. She had terminal lung cancer, and she still transitioned into pure spirit. Well, it was her time. And my prayer was heard. My prayer was answered, and it was answered with, it's her time. And sometimes that's how it is. It's beyond us. There is a mystery here. We can't see the full mystery because we're in these bodies. But we can work towards improving our conscious contact with the intelligence and with all that is. So I just love that story of the power of prayer. There are countless such stories, countless stories of the power of prayer. Okay. Meditation. This is a personal responsibility. At this point, in the unfolding of events, the unfolding of humanity and the reality that we're all dealing with on the planet Earth, meditation now has become, in my opinion, a personal responsibility. I mean, I could say it in the negative and say, if you're not meditating, if you understand what it is, I'll just say you're missing something that is critically important for the way your life and everyone that you come into contact is going to experience things. I just don't know how else to say it. Here in the 11th effort, the 11th step, we're talking about using meditation as a method like prayer to improve our conscious contact. And when do we do it? All the time. We do it always. We're meditating right now, or not. But hopefully we're developing the capacity to be meditating right now. What does it mean? To be absorbed in the present moment. fully absorbed in the present moment. Are you paying attention? Or are you thinking about something you have to do when we finish in about 20 minutes? Are you concerned about something that happened in the past? Are you thinking about something else other than what we're doing right here in this present moment? You've taken the time to come here. Guess what the purpose of your life is in this moment? To listen to me. My purpose in my life is to talk to you and not be thinking about anything else. I'm completely absorbed in this moment. You're completely absorbed in this moment. We're fully present together. This is a meditative moment. We develop the capacity to be that present. Now, the meditation that we speak about in yoga, is about that absorption. In the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, it talks about a form of meditation that resembles something more like contemplation. It's about asking a question of the universe and then entering a presence, a calm presence, and waiting for the answer to come. It's asking and then opening up for a receiving, a contemplative, so a concept-based contemplation. So we might be curious. Here's a sort of a big book type contemplation. What is the best use of my energy today? We sit down with that question. That could be a morning question, right? I'm in my meditative posture. I'm sitting up tall. This is for me. There's no posture in this process that's prescribed. For me as a yogi, I'm sitting with my spine erect and extended. My heart is lifted. My shoulders nice and relaxed. My face relaxed. And I'm asking this question. It's a contemplation. Okay. What is the best use of my energy today? I clear my mind. I don't try to think of an answer. I don't try to figure anything out. That would be the use of my will. Rather, I clear my mind and I wait and I enter a receptive place. Rather than a taking, it's a receiving. So that's what's described in the big book. And I have to tell you, I don't think we do enough of this process. It's so powerful. It's so beautiful. And what an incredible thing to ask a question and not try to figure it out, but wait. And just being with the breath and being with your body and taking the time to see what comes. Okay? So what I'd like to do with you is I'd like to have a little experience of this. Now remember, meditation takes a lot of different forms. We're talking about meditation as contemplation, as it's described in the big book. In the yogic sense, we have countless meditations, beautiful, beautiful meditations that are really all about absorption into the present moment and the development of a meditative mind. So before we do our contemplation meditation, I just want to quickly just say, when I say meditation is a responsibility, what I mean is to develop a meditative mind is a responsibility now. If you have a meditative mind, you can focus, you can concentrate, you can direct energy, you can create much more skillfully and effectively. We live in a world that does not support this process towards greater focus. We live in a world that does not support greater mental clarity. We live in a world where multitasking and being scattered and all over the place is much more the norm than a meditative mind. Part of the reason we have so much suffering that we do is because people are running around with a mind that's just rampant. They haven't developed any stability. And this isn't about, in our country, this is not about liberal, conservative, Democrat, Republican. This is about humanity. This is about human beings. Everybody needs to be doing this, in my opinion, in order to be effective in this world, in order to not go crazy. We must do this work. It's so important. So that's the work of developing a meditative mind. What we're going to do now is a contemplation-based meditation together. I just want 5 minutes of your time. And it'll be the top of the hour. I'll take you out of the meditation, and we'll be able to close tonight's talk and go into the evening. Okay? So first of all, I just want you to be willing to go here. So just say to you, put your hand on your chest for a moment. Just say, connect with yourself inside. Say, okay, let's really give this a try. Let's really give this a try, okay? So let's say our question, we're going to all have the same question. Just forgive me my inserting of my question into your consciousness, but let's go with this. How can I release all concern, anxiety, worry, and fear tonight so that I can go to bed and truly rest? How can I release my anxiety, my worry, my fear tonight so that I can go to bed and truly rest? Close your eyes. Hold the question in your mind. How can I release worry, anxiety, and fear, all stress, tonight so that I can truly rest when I go to bed? Hold the question. Just hold the question. Don't try to figure it out. Don't try to figure it out. And just be here with your eyes closed. Hold the question. Just hold that question. Release all effort. Be in the contemplation. Be in a receptive place. I'll be quiet for the next few minutes. Allow the answers to come. Take a deep inhale and a full exhale. Gently come with the eyes open. Good. If something nice came to you, maybe write it down in your journal. A great, great thing to do. So nice. So to conclude, let's take a look at the last part of the 11th effort. So we saw through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with the universe, praying only for greater consciousness, right? And the energy to fulfill our purpose today. That particular languaging is really about the one day at a time concept. As we are working this 11th effort, really working with the universe in present time, in this one day at a time life and reality, is to really ask for the energy to be on purpose today, the energy to fulfill purpose today, the energy that I can move through this day on purpose, in purpose, and complete the purpose today. I need energy for that. And so the prayer and meditation moves me towards greater energy, greater power, helps me to fulfill my purpose in this one day at a time life, which is why I decided to write that particular turn of phrase there at the end, rather than praying only for knowledge of God's will for us and the power to carry that out. Keep in mind that for me, those two things are the same. God's will for us is to have the energy to fulfill our purpose today. It's one and the same. I'm just using language that brings it more into a different kind of understanding outside of, say, God's will, which is difficult for some people. But it's all the same, really. So we're into some, beautiful, beautiful and heavy concepts when we come to this 11th effort. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to bring prayer and meditation into our lives.